This video deals with children saying no, children refusing to take part in things, to eat things, to do tasks, to do work around the house, or to do their work in school. It's one aspect of dealing with refusals is probably the most difficult aspect, which is respecting the protest, actually allowing the child to have a voice. This is quite difficult because children don't often say no in an acceptable way. They often say it in ways that make it difficult to respect what they're saying. So at school, children have shown us that there are many ways to say no. There's the direct refusal, there's just being plain grumpy, there's being evasive and shy, not meeting your eye contact, there's crying, being silly rather than doing the work, turning away, getting aggressive, or even just standing there smiling and flat out refusing to do what you're asking them to do. We also have damage to property sometimes, fortunately not often. We have antagonizing other children, and even self-harm or self-neglect as a way of just shutting off from the world and not complying, cooperating with others. So the difficult thing when a child has said no, perhaps in a socially unacceptable way, is that we still have to differentiate between the message and the style of delivery. The message might be, I'm terribly sorry, but I actually don't want to do what you're asking me to do. But children often don't go out of their way to deliver that message in a socially acceptable way. They might choose a style of delivery that we find difficult to deal with. And sometimes it's tempting to concentrate only on the style of delivery and say, you don't talk to me like that, or and by doing so we ignore the message. So at school we try to moderate the style of delivery whilst respecting the message. So even if they've shouted at us, we still reflect later on the reasons why they didn't want to get on the minibus or do the work or go into a certain classroom, go through a transition, and we respect their voice. So to move things forward, if there's been a confrontation where a child's been refusing to do something, as I say, you have to separate the message from the style of delivery. You have to understand their primary emotions and motivators. The primary emotions probably aren't the emotions that you see when they are getting angry and shouting no. The primary emotions are the ones that drove them to into the situation where they then became angry. So it may well be that they're anxious, or they're scared, or embarrassed, or shy, and therefore they have gotten themselves into a situation and they don't know how to express those feelings. So eventually they've got to the point where the emotions have taken over and they've become angry. And we have to help them through the crisis as well. If they've got angry because they've been scared, we have to deal with the fear, maybe at a later date, but more immediately we have to help them select strategies that can calm them. They might not be able to calm themselves, so we have to help them through the crisis as well. And then we have to sit down and be the ones that work out how the crisis can be avoided the next time. Putting all the responsibility on the child to change the next time that situation occurs is probably not going to be an effective strategy. It's the adults that need to do the thinking and modifying the environment. This all sounds quite difficult, and indeed it is, and it's maybe one of the most difficult parts of behaviour management. after an incident, it's the adult that has to sit down and reflect and be the one that changes the situation, because if you don't change the situation, the behaviour is just going to be the same. And as I say, that's hard when there's been high emotions involved in a confrontation, but we adults have to be the adults in the situation. And what makes it even harder is that it's a balance. If a child's coming to you and screaming no every time, and you respect that no fully at that point, it could be that you're teaching that child that screaming's okay. And you don't want to be rewarding unacceptable behavior. So on the one hand, you want to respect the no and show the child that you're understanding their communication, but on the other hand, you want to be modifying the way that they're talking to you and not rewarding difficult behavior, challenging behavior. The way we get around that is to look for the early signs of a child about to say no, and we intervene then before they've become overexcited and getting into anger and other difficult emotions, if we can. It's not always possible. It's a hard job. That's it. That's the end of this video. We will be doing a video on how to come up with strategies for avoiding getting children saying no to you. There's many de-escalation strategies that we use, and I'll put a list of those out on a further video shortly. Do please get in touch if you want any information or you want to talk about a particular incident or a particular behavior. We're always happy to help. Thank you for watching.